The question, how did this happen again? And we're going to be talking about our Fourth Amendment rights and whether or not the NSA has violated them. We're also going to be talking about immigration. The Senate has voted to advance a landmark immigration bill, clearing the way for a hurdle that could open the door to citizenship for millions of people. And finally, we will address mental illness in the U.S. Half of all inmates are believed to have some sort of mental illness. The question, can we stop violent crimes if there were better advances in detecting and treating mental illness early? Let's get right to our first topic. Is the NSA and other agencies violating our Fourth Amendment rights?
Privacy versus national security. With the recent leak of the U.S. government gathering information on billions of phone calls and internet activities, we wanted to know, what other ways are we being tracked?
Did you know that store loyalty or rewards cards which offer savings also track your spending habits? According to Colloquial Loyalty Consensus, memberships have grown from 973 million in 2000 to nearly 2.7 billion last year.
If they want to know how much, chicken I buy at the grocery store, whether I'm vegetarian, I don't know what they're going to do with that information. They're welcome to have it.
Online, when you visit a specific site, you can see who tracks you with a free application called Ghostery. We checked the New York Times website and found these number of sites tracking us. What's interesting about Ghostery is if you don't want specific sites tracking you, you can turn it off.
If you are one of the 114 million Americans who use one of these smartphones, chances are you're being tracked through the GPS.
Don't forget to smile when you withdraw. Chances are the majority of 414,000 ATMs in the U.S. are equipped with cameras. Since 9/11, the U.S. Patriot Act gave the federal government unprecedented access to telephone and computer exchanges and expanded the government's right to wiretap. Even without you knowing, financial, library, travel, and video records held by third parties can be searched without your knowledge or consent, as long as the government says it's acting against terrorism.
The majority of people we spoke to mentioned that there should be a balance between national security and privacy. But when we pressed them some more to describe where that perfect balance is, majority of them could not describe it. And that very difficult issue is the same thing that Obama has to deal with when he discusses this with the general public. Reporting from Manhattan, New York, this is Kat Sandoval for Ebra News.
Thank you, Kat. Well, the Fourth Amendment was written so that people in the United States of America could be secure in their homes, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. A little trivia: it was written directly in response to the British, who would search any home they wanted to at any time. It was written in 1791. All right, let's get right to our panel. We have our political analyst Dee Dee Benkie, media analyst Jackie Guzda, and Dr. Jose Lopez from Seton Hall University. We thank you all for being here. So let's talk about this. Our Fourth Amendment rights, we're talking about this nearly 200 years later now. Are they being violated right now? And Dr. Lopez, we'll start with you. It's a broad question there. Are they being violated right now?
I personally think you're a citizen of the United States, and this information is being collected and anonymously collected to protect you as a citizen. So I don't think it is. Okay.
Well, Jackie, I see you're looking a little in disbelief right there.
I can't believe you said that, Jose. You know what? I agree with Kat in the package. Look, our rights are being pushed back, are they not? It is like the 1700s. Our papers are now electronic papers, and they're being snooped into. However, the president's job is first and foremost to protect his citizens. So you've got this push and pull going on.
I like the girl's comment in that story there. Well, if they want to get access to what kind of chicken I'm buying.
Yeah.
But what kind of a violation? When is it too much? Dee Dee?
Oh, I think it's too much. I think we need to update just a little bit. 1770, whatever. This is a slippery slope, and there's been so much of this, and the invasion of privacy. And it's tough because you want us, we want to be safe, but this is over the top. I absolutely think that it's infringing our Fourth Amendment rights. And it's getting scarier and scarier. I mean, we are getting all this invasion of privacy, and this is the United States of America. It's not Russia, it's not communist China, it's the United States. So it's going a little bit too far. Now, I really don't care if they know I'm eating chicken or not, but I do care about other information like medical records and other sensitive information. And why is the NSA doing that? I just think it's over the top.
Well, I think that the reason the NSA is doing this is that after 9/11, that people became fearful and people became afraid that this was going to happen again. So the government's reaction is, let me take care of the people.
But we're not threats, so get out of our lives. I mean, why don't you go after the person where there's chatter or whatever?
I thoroughly agree with that.
I don't want them in my personal business. The government should not be in our personal business. It's the United States of America.
But they were in our personal business a long time ago, back when Bush was president.
That's not good either. I don't agree with that either. I think it's too much invasion of privacy. Now, if you've got a record or if you've got chatter going on where it looks like you might be a terrorist, or you might be buying things that make bombs, fine, go after them, leave us alone.
That's right. I thoroughly agree with that, because the FISA Act is in control of this, and what they're supposed to be doing is looking at foreign nationals.
Exactly.
And there's two things they can do. One you mentioned, if a foreign national is communicating with an American citizen and they are a person of suspect, then look into that communication. Second thing, they control the sites. They can see these Al-Qaeda sites. They can see these anti-American sites. Look into that.
But that also gets into the whole profiling aspect as well. I want to talk about right now about the spending on cyber operations. And if you can talk us through this is your field, Dr. Lopez. If you can explain to us how in the technical aspect, is there any way that we can protect ourselves?
I mean, there are some ways you can protect yourself. I mean, the easiest way is don't use credit cards, don't use anything, basically. Just live in a cave.
Just cash.
Just cash. And even then, just live in a cave. So there really is no way to protect yourself from this. I mean, and I understand exactly all your points, but this is all metadata. What that fancy word means is it's so much vast information that it's all anonymous. It's all basically
I don't believe you. I
data.
think what you just said is wrong. It's not anonymous. What are you talking about?
Absolutely anonymous.
No, it's not anonymous.
What the analysts do at the NSA is this is people looking, and they're looking for, like you're saying, high profile, high probability that something big can happen. But what chicken you're buying at the supermarket or what charges you're putting on your credit card or who you're calling, that is just irrelevant stuff.
Phone records. They're going through phone records. We found that out earlier this month.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is it's AT&T and Verizon run pretty much 90% of all of the telecommunications traffic in the United States of America, and it's one of those things that that if the government tells you, well, you gotta have a little line there that goes to the NSA computers.
Well, wouldn't you say that the NSA's job is there to connect the dots?
Well, the NSA's job exactly is that, but the world has changed so much that globalization, which we're always talking about all the time, has really transformed the world. So it's not just computers or servers that are sitting in the United States. I mean, Facebook and Google have servers, huge servers up in Finland, all over the world. So I mean, what this foreign or domestic means is a blurred line these days. So that's why the NSA is doing what they're doing currently.
And they're going to be adding more billions of dollars in the years to come, because this is going to become, as we talked about even last week, this is going to become more of a problem. So there's no way that we can protect ourselves. So what do we do to move forward?
Well, I mean, just to tag a little bit more on to that, I mean, the one Department of Defense budget that has increased, the other ones have been decreasing across the board, especially as a scientist, I've noticed in the research, it's been decreasing as of next year's budget and moving forward. But the NSA budget has gone up quite substantially, from 3.9 billion this year to 4.6, I think they're projecting potentially for next year. So these cyber attacks, these issues, this is a big thing moving forward. This is where the battlefield is, in a sense.
Well, we should battle that, but we shouldn't be getting our personal information, every bit of it. The NSA shouldn't have it. It's just wrong. That does not help beat terrorists. It is a huge invasion of privacy. It's a slippery slope, and it's a very bad and dangerous area we're going into.
And it comes up with a good question. Who is the NSA trying to protect us from with this multi-million-dollar spy program? I mean, that's the big question right now. And if you think about each year, one of the 5 to 10 Americans killed each year by domestic terrorism, is that enough to substantiate looking into our phone records?
Well, it's not the 5 to 10 people that are killed every year. I think it's the fear, the potential of how many more thousands can get killed, like in 9/11.
No, I don't think it's an excuse to get our phone records
and wiretap.
I think it's terrible. I think it's just, a white swoop to take a net in every bit of our information. That's just not what we do in our country. It's bad.
I'm totally with you there. It's an invasion of privacy.
So, Dr. Lopez, I'm going to ask you a question since you're the scientist here. If they're looking into all of our phone records right now and spending and let's just say wasting time looking into people who are basically innocent average Americans, is that a waste of time? Should they be targeting more?
What it is they're not specifically looking at what Jackie is doing.
You don't know that.
They're not doing it.
Yes, they are.
They're collecting data.
Yes, so they
and
have
it's
it so they
sitting
can
on
look at it
computers.
anytime
But where does the data go? I mean,
It sits in servers and computers in places like Utah and places in the middle of nowhere, and it just sits there. And in the potential that years from now something dangerous is going on, they can go back to that. I mean, a lot of what the NSA does is there's about 40,000 employees, and a lot of them it's just people. I mean, they're sitting there. You have all this stuff stored up, and then the people there analyze stuff.
Looking at our stuff. That's exactly right, and it's wrong. I don't want them looking at my stuff. Right. I don't think I'm not doing anything. I'm not a terrorist. Why are they looking at my private stuff? I don't like it.
Well, look, just to play devil's advocate.
I want to go back to the time that it takes to look at that stuff. You know, you've got 300 million
Why
Americans.
don't they focus on the bad guys?
How much time
the
does it
unemployment
take to look for those 40,000 NSA workers?
But that's the thing. It's a needle in a haystack. I mean, you don't know. I mean, there's 300 million people in the United States there's all this traffic, and then there's 6 billion people in the world.
But that's the point Mia's making, is why don't you focus on the bad guys, and because you know pretty much who they are. I mean, you know that Aunt Edna out in Iowa ain't a terrorist. I mean, so why are we gathering everyone's information?
Well, but look,
It's
I'm going to play devil's advocate. What about the Boston bombing? You had these 2 young men. Were they potential terrorists?
Well, it didn't work, did it?
It didn't work.
They didn't find them.
They didn't.
Well, they found themselves. I mean, cameras did take pictures of them, and they had suspects who
I
they
believe
were,
that
and
was
then they
on
were
Lord and
identified.
Taylor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Lord and Taylor cameras found him, actually.
Right.
But I will say, we'll talk about FBI Director Robert Mueller has testified on Capitol Hill this week defending this controversial program and says it could have prevented 9/11. What are your thoughts on that? Dr. Lopez will let you answer that one. Do you think that a program like this, if it was in place in 2001, would it have, or could it have prevented September 11th attacks?
I think where we are now, the computer programs, these algorithms as they're called, are becoming much more sophisticated. I mean, what is exactly happening at the NSA really is top secret. I mean, there's very few people you can talk to about. But I mean, you look at companies like Amazon, right? You go on Amazon, you buy whatever it is you want there, and then they have a pretty good idea. I mean, one of the more interesting stories that I've heard in the past few years, a true story, I've researched it, it was a girl and a teenager in I forget what state it was, but she went to Target, she bought stuff, and then she kept getting circulars, these mailings telling her, oh, you should buy more of this stuff, diapers and stuff like that. And then her father got really angry, and he went to Target and he said, well, my daughter, why? She's not pregnant or anything. And it turned out that this computer program had predicted before she knew and her family knew that she was pregnant. So if Target has that, then the NSA is developing stuff along those lines. But it's siphoning through. I can't even explain to you the magnitude of the data.
That's an
National
amazing story,
security.
but that's actually a little frightening also. I mean, even when you
Absolutely.
get the coupons and they know what brand you're buying. But what were you saying, Dee Dee?
No, it's big brother, big sister, big daddy. It's too much infringement, and that. I just think that is over the top. I don't think it's interesting. I think it's bad. And it sounds like we're in the world of the Terminator. The machines are going to take over. And well, you laugh, but who knows? I mean, it's just getting into territory where it's just over the top, and the government has too much power, too much information.
But look,
Final thoughts, Jackie?
What are you going to say when there's another terrorist attack? And are you going to say that Obama didn't protect us, because that's the other side of your coin, which I agree with you?
No, I want them to go after the bad guys and look at suspects, but that's not us. Leave us alone. Leave us out of it.
You
Be more
never know.
targeted.
You never
Dr.
know.
Lopez, this is the new battlefield, you're saying?
It is the new battlefield, and what this is, it's preventive. It's like you go to your doctor and you try to get preventive advice and medicine before you can get sick. And this is kind of a very similar perspective. All this data is collected to try to prevent major catastrophes from happening. And that's the way I'm looking at it, and a few other people are looking at it this way also.
Well, let's cut off our legs before we get cancer there. That'd be great. Why don't we just do that? Let's start cutting things off before they get sick. That'll work.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a quick break. We do thank you all for joining us. We're going to be debating this topic for sure for the days, weeks, and years to come, because it's not going away. Thank you so much for joining us. And don't you go away. The NSA is also under fire because of one of their own. Should they be doing more surveillance in their own offices? We'll be right back, everyone.